Hello, welcome to Promise Resource Network. This is Expansions with me. I'm Jane. And if you are used to me doing this, you know that this is usually live. And this time I am pre-recording it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. I'm lighting my sage and lavender flowers in this one. Because this is the spiritual dimension of wellness, y'all. We get to dive into spirituality and all of the parts of that. And it's more than just the stuff that I was told when I was a kid about, the God. I like to talk about all types of stuff, from metaphysics to our energy centers to how to live a life maybe with a little bit more compassion and peace, but definitely one with more love. And I want to share something that it's kind of my topic for the week. And it's been coming up, and I want to talk about it and see what you all think. Obviously, if you leave comments, I will be going back to look at them. Unfortunately, it'll be a little bit weird because I'm not going to be able to respond in the now. But please do leave your comments, leave your perspectives, leave your experiences in the comments below. It's way more interesting, and continues to support other people as well. So let's see, before I begin, I just want to share the Promise Resource Network warm line. So it's a 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, like totally free line number that you call if you would like a listening ear. And because of the topic that I'm going to talk about today, some things may come up, some things may come into your awareness, and you may want to share your experience with a real human more than leaving a comment. So if you want that number, it's 704, no, it's not, it's 833-390-7728. I was going to give another number, and I was like, well, that's not it. What do you do? So yeah, that number again for the warm line, again, it's free. It's 833-390-7728. So call it if you want to. I do this. I get on and then I'm like, I'm getting warm. So I have these big, super fluffy slippers on. I just took them off. Yes, much better. Still have my wool socks on. That's probably why my feet were hot. So anyway, so y'all, I want to talk about something that I'm noticing there's a little bit of a divide, and I'd like to just talk about it to maybe bridge this gap. So it has to do with spirituality and social justice and just the things that kind of come up with this. So I, first of all, would like to share 2 books that I am reading and am about to read, because the topic on both of them is anger. So the first book I'm reading is called The Dance of Anger, which I wonder if you all will be able to see it or if it's going to be backward. Damn it. Backward. Anyway, The Dance of Anger, I'm reading that by Harriet Lerner, and then I'm getting ready to read Love and Rage. I know it's backward. By Lama Rod Owens. Unless it's Lama. I don't know how to pronounce their name. So anyway, I've done some scanning through this book, and I'm very excited to really dive into it more so, especially because there are some really awesome practices in there. And this person really blends spirituality and social justice in a really awesome way. And in The Dance of Anger, this person talks about anger and how it affects relationships, and then how we can kind of bring that, bring our experience with anger into our awareness, and then kind of move through it instead of being in relationships where it feeds anger or minimizes it, ignores it, and there's just a lot of stress in the relationship. So I want to share something about myself and anger. So I feel it. And not only do I feel it, but I really used to feel it a lot. Um, I think that everyone in my family had or has, I'm going to say underlying anger. When I say underlying anger, I mean that they don't share it. They don't talk about it. They don't emote it. They don't feel it in a way that I would ever know. Um, they push it down or they push it aside, and I don't know what they do with it, but anger wasn't an emotion that was supported in my household. That being said, the men in my family had and felt anger, and I could see that. And they would let it out in either one family member would let it out aggressively toward me, and another family member in particular would let it out in really passive aggressive ways. So I never really knew how to stand up to anger. And when they expressed anger in whatever way they did, it didn't necessarily feel good. It didn't feel good for this one person to use physical means to express their anger. It felt bad. It felt like crap. The other family member that would use passive aggressive ways, ridicule, shaming, making fun of ways to really deal with their own shit, their own anger that came from either regret or fear or whatever, right? It was like those were the underlying things, and then it kind of was felt maybe as anger, and then they expressed it out in like really passive aggressive and ridiculing kind of ways. Very judgmental. And I didn't know how to stand up to that. I didn't know how to stop it. I just kind of learned how to like dodge it or placate it or do my best, look a certain way, act a certain way, so that I wouldn't disappoint them or upset them, so that they wouldn't like let their anger out at me. So that's what I kind of grew up with. Or like no one, and then like the women in their bodies never really showed anger. They were never like, God, I'm so mad. Like worst case scenarios that they would get so mad that then they would cry. And then they would like leave the room. So like it was never an emotion that I got to experience or witness the processing of. So then here I am, right? So like I grew up with that. And I think we all have our own stories, and I would love to hear, maybe what your experience was on did your family emote or share anger? Did they all hold it in? Was it back and forth? Was it this or that? Like, I would love to know if you would like to share that in the comments. But I'm realizing that I grew up then without any tools. I had no coping skills around anger. I didn't know how to feel it in my body. No one talked about feeling anything in my body anyway. I was never told that like anything about it other than, if you're angry, it's bad. Like that's what I was taught. If it's angry, it's bad. And either if you let it out, then you're a bitch. Or you're mean, right? Or or you hold it in because you need to make sure that everyone else is comfortable around you. It's not safe to let out your anger. You might break something. So then I grow up with this inability to identify, to feel, not to feel, to acknowledge, to process, to be with anger. It's like you don't want to do with that. Like you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to be with it. Just like ignore it, push it aside. You get mad, you throw something and you're done. But none of it was like teaching me how to be with it. right? So I grow up with situations that create feeling that support me feeling angry. You know, I watched shit, it happened yesterday. I watched a woman in front of me, y'all, driving, and I see this like McDonald's cup go flying out of the passenger window, and like ice and everything goes everywhere. And I'm like, what was that, right? And I'm thinking like, okay, so I'm giving the benefit of the doubt. I'm thinking maybe there's like a kid in the car that just doesn't know better or something, and they just like threw it out the window. I don't know. So I got up. I thought I had water, but I don't. So I got up past this person driving, and they were alone. They had taken this cup and just thrown it out of their window, like consciously. There was like a decision that they made. It was like that was a decision. And I had the feeling of anger, like, are you kidding me, you turd burglar? Like, even if you don't care about any other person on this earth, can you not just care about the earth itself? Like, if anything, like, can you not just care about the planet a little bit? And then I was like, ugh. So, I took a couple deep breaths, and I remembered that, yeah, maybe they don't care. Maybe they haven't woken up to an awareness that there are things on this earth bigger than them that provide life for all living beings, and that those things maybe could be cared for. So I'm like giving this person the benefit of this doubt. And so I started to calm down, and I did, like, it dissipated. I didn't push it aside. I didn't yell at her. I think I maybe made a noise though, like, ugh. I probably did. I probably like grunted or something. I don't know. Probably. I probably called her a turd burglar. And then I remembered, like, she's me, right? She's a version of me, a timeline of me. She's an aspect of me, because we're all a human. We're all one, one fractal of the source, right? So, any hoozles. So here I am realizing, right? Like, I've grown up in a society that doesn't teach me how to feel anger, how to process it, how to emote it. Nothing. Why do I yawn? I did just do a lot of breathing exercises. Maybe that was it. Anyway. So not only have I grown up in this society, like you have too, like you've grown up in this culture of not dealing with anger or over dealing with it, right? Like, I want to become an MMA fighter and I'm just going to beat people all day and make a bunch of money. Yay! Unresolved anger. Now I can direct it and get praised and paid for it. Or I'll become a football star and I can just tackle people and get rid of a lot of this anger or whatever, right? So what I notice, and I've done this, so I'm not the only one. So I've noticed that, like, I have in my life avoided things that made me angry, right? Like, I don't like this, so I won't go there. That makes me mad. It makes me, whatever creates anger for me. Nothing makes me mad, but something can inspire anger within me. So, like, I would avoid the things. And then, the more I studied and felt into and downloaded, like, my truths of the universe and energy and how we are a manifestation of our belief, and everything is a manifestation of our belief, and everything that we are experiencing is a consciousness, and it's all energy. Then I was like, then why even bother dealing with anger, right? Like, if anger's gonna bring me down, right? Bring my vibe down. And if God is love isn't angry. So why do I even need to feel anger, right? So I was like, I'll just ignore it, right? Do I need it? No, this was my thought. And then there was a realization point for me that I guess I remembered that, like, I am, as a human on this earth, I'm supposed to feel anger. I am. I am made as a human to feel anger. I'm supposed to get mad. I am. I'm not supposed to be happy with everything. I'm not. I'm not. Does that mean that the things that I'm angry about are valid? They are to me. And they may not be to you, and that's okay. Just like some of the things that make you really mad, I may not give two shits about. I don't care. Like, whatever. Does that mean that your feelings aren't valid? Of course not. Not at all. So, as I'm really learning through this, and I mean, everything is a learning process, right? I mean, every day I learn more and more about myself and society and culture and the system, the program, and just all of that. And I've noticed that there are this like two ways of thinking. I know that there are more than two ways, but two ways of thinking that I really want to shine a light on because I want to bridge this gap. There's this thought, a consciousness, right? A way of viewing stuff as just keep your vibe high, right? Just think happy thoughts, rose color lenses, okay, so something bad happened, just move on. Just move on. It's in the past now. Just move on. Just go. Like, just go. Get your vibe high. And there's another school of thought that is, you need to feel this stuff and really sit in it and to do anything about, like, you need to get mad. You need to get mad about this and you need to get mad about that. And if you don't get mad about it, then you're not really getting it. You don't understand it. So those are like the two kind of like polarized ends of this type of perspective around anger or any negative emotions, but I'm using anger in this example. So then you have these two polarized perspectives around anger. Don't feel it, ignore it, shove it down or let it go, just move on. Or, yeah, that's right, you've got to feel it, yeah, right? And I think that they both have so much value. And I think that singly, they are not valuable at all. I feel, and this is where I feel the bridging the gap comes into the play. And any bridge is going to have a beginning, an end, and a middle. So the bridge itself isn't one focus point of this is the way, so I'm giving my perspective of the bridge. So to me, and I would like to know your all's thoughts on this, your thoughts and feels, is that there's a middle ground. Like, if something makes us angry, there's a reason for it. It's tapping into or triggering a part of us that could be healed. And this part of us that could be healed, it could be due to my own lived experience that I have something that I need to heal, or it's a part of the collective that still needs healing, right? So when I got angry that the woman threw the garbage out, the wound, the trauma that it triggered in me wasn't because someone threw a cup at me in my life. It was because people as a whole don't care through action about the earth. And I find that very sad and disheartening, right? Because, it's sad. It's sad. It's so sad to me. And, anger, if anger is here, you have these underlying kind of root feels and causes and emotions. And it's usually fear or like sadness, grief, So I realized that that's what it was. But that's what it triggered in me. You know, when when someone does something that I don't like, you know, and I get mad at them, is it because someone had done that to me and I didn't like it? Or is it because I do or have done that to others in my life and I haven't forgiven myself or someone else who had done it to me? Right? So there's, I think, big value to feeling it so that we can identify where we can grow, where we can heal, where we can make a difference. Because the woman that threw the cup out the window, the litter bug, haven't used that word in a long time, the litter bug, anger was felt. And so I let it be felt. I let it out. I let it be. I called her a litter bug and turd burglar and was like, woman, what? Oh, it's what I did while I was driving by myself. And then what I thought about was like, then how can I be a better change, a bigger change in this world? How can I inspire others to, remember that this earth is a beautiful consciousness that we get to live on. Like, this is like living on the biggest, most beautiful temple house in the universe. Like, why shit on it? Like, why leave it dirty and gross? Like, why? Why do that? It's like somebody buys you a new pair of shoes and you go run in the mud. I mean, you can, but why? It's like the way we treat our bodies. Like, this is the only one you get. Like, why feed it plastic? Like, why abuse it? We do, though. Like, I get it. So anyway, thinking about that, and I was like, okay, so, just being even more aware of my carbon footprint and my impact on this earth and how I can be a better steward on this mother. So feeling the anger can lead to really beautiful, inspired ideas, creative growth, new, innovative, visionary style solutions, right? So feeling the thing that angers you is powerful, especially if you ask yourself, like, why does this anger me? What is this triggering inside of me? But that takes a lot of awareness. I get it. So we have that, kind of bridging that, like, okay, if I feel anger, pause and ask myself, like, why am I angry? What caused the anger? Was it because it was a woman driving, or was it because it was a red car, or was it because the cup flew out the window? Like, what was it that actually angered me? And sitting with it, right? And trying to have empathy for me and for the thing, the being, the living being that was harmed, the earth in this example. So then I'm like feeling more love and compassion for the earth. So feeling the feel of anger, I feel like, is really super duper important. Let's talk about the other side, right? Just put it down, put it aside, just let it go. No reason to cry over spilled milk, right? Like that type of mentality. I get it. Because as soon as I start to really lower my vibe, right, that in which I will manifest will be a direct reflection of that. I get it. And I'm doing myself a disservice because if I experience something that creates anger, I see someone hurting someone, a dog, a child, a peer, the planet, themselves. And I just look and I go, because I feel anger and I feel really uncomfortable, right? And just go, whatever, I'm going to turn away. I'm just going to turn a blind eye. Like, I don't even want to see that because it's going to bring my vibe down. I get it. And there's no use to that. There's literally no space for expansion, for growth, for compassion, for grace, for solutions, to be a voice for someone that can't maybe stand up or speak up for themselves. So, allowing ourselves to feel that discomfort of, I don't like what I just saw. Well, what can I do about it? Well, if I feel powerless, acknowledge that I feel powerless. Give myself some compassion, because feeling powerless, feeling helpless, feeling hopeless is a really not fun feeling that many of us have or are feeling. It's not fun at all. And being able to at least form some compassion, right? And like send that like wave of love to the person being hurt. And then when I move forward, if I can't be of service to that situation, when I move forward, then maybe even ask myself, well, how can I be a voice next time? Sharing about it with friends, hey, I saw this and it made me really mad and I didn't know how to feel it or deal with it. How would you all have handled that? And actually facing the fact that I couldn't deal with it, or the fact that my mentality is that, oh, just let it go. It's in the past, it's done. But rather bringing it up and facing it, like looking at it and being like, wow, this made me mad and I was afraid to feel it. I was afraid to speak up. Look at that. Fear controlled my anger. Oh, the fear was louder than the anger. That's why I didn't really feel the fear so much. Like really having these moments of instant self-reflection in every few now moments that we remember that we're in a new now moment. And just like a check-in, right? Like, what am I feeling? Something feels weird. What is this? Oh, I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling really pissed off. I'm feeling really frustrated. Okay, well, where am I feeling it in my body? Or can I make my breath more steady? Can I be a change to support the vision that I would like? Going back to the other side. You got to feel it, right? You got to feel it. We can start to do ourselves a disservice if we overfeel it, right? If I am just angry all the time because I can't let go, I'm still pissed about this and I'm still angry about that because it happened 50 years ago and I can't get over it because it was wrong, so wrong. Here's the thing with that. I am bringing my immune system down. I am creating a stressful environment for my body, and I am becoming unwell. My mental capacity is starting to actually diminish, and I'm not going to think clearly because my blood pressure is too high because I'm still in anger mode. When we're in that much anger and holding on that tight, we are in our sympathetic nervous system, and we're in like fight or flight or freeze or fawn. Like we're in one of those like kind of places. So then we can't think of a creative solution. We can't create a compassionate answer to support or help or heal the beings that were harmed, right? So if I had been so mad at this person who threw this cup and littered out the window in front of me yesterday, I may have gotten in a car accident because I may not have been paying attention, because old Jane would have totally road raged on her. For real. Because again, I used to have a lot of anger, so I'm very familiar with a lot of ways that we let it out in like little explosive ways. If we don't know how to like manage it and process it and feel it, it has to come out, and it will come out in really not cool ways. It won't support your health. It won't support your relationships. It won't support life on this earth. It just doesn't. We're not made to just hold it in. It's like holding in a fart for a really long time. It hurts. Your stomach's going to hurt. You're going to be filled up with air, and it's unhealthy. You know, holding in anger is like holding in a fart. Don't do it. You know? And it's also not cool if you do have gas and you're just like farty McFarterson stinking up everywhere you go and not having any consideration for other beings that have noses or mouth breathers. Oh, you know, like there's a consideration for others as well as having a consideration for self. You're like, I don't want to hold anger in, and I also don't want to just like let it just pass through me and just to where I don't feel it and don't experience it, because it's a part of being human. It's a very integral part of being human. Must feel anger. It's human. So where does this go? Because I started the top of the hour talking about spirituality and social justice. A lot of times, these two schools of thought, right? That I don't feel anger, let it go, let it go, let it go. And then I feel so much anger because of all of the bad things, okay? A lot of this school of thought really stands up for social justice. The way that end of that perspective stands up for social justice stuff can be very aggressive. It's not always, and it can be, right? Have you ever met like a person who's like a feminist, right? Yeah, technically I am, you know, and then there are the feminists that are the man haters, right? Those are that version, that like extreme perspective, like way out here, are the more aggressive, like, I'm gonna stand up in your face and I'm gonna tell you how wrong you are. Which if anybody's gonna stand up and yell in my face, I don't even care if what you're saying is 100% true. I'm not gonna feel it as truth. I'm gonna feel it as an attack, and my walls are gonna go up, and I'm not gonna hear you, and I may react. Like retaliation or yell back or just turn on my heels and be like, peace out, like whatever, you yelling human, stop. So then this perspective and this trying to create change in the world doesn't actually happen with any speed at all. And the solutions aren't made in love. They're not made in compassion and acceptance and not in creativity. They're actually made with fear as the basis, anger as the basis, lack, right? If I don't do it this way, it's not going to get done because it hasn't been done, right? A lot of lack mentality. And so then nothing new and like cutting edge and as far as like solution space is going to be the reality from that perspective. It's just not. And then the other end, just let it go, right? Just let it go. Then we don't grow from the past. Like we don't learn from our past mistakes. We don't. If I just let everything go, whatever, it's just in the past. You know, Jane says it's now, what's not happening now, so it's fine. Well, then I'm not going to give myself an opportunity to look at, you know, genocide and oppression and the prison system and the education system and how big pharma works. Then I'm not even going to look at those things because it will trigger discomfort, right? And my cognitive dissonance won't be able to make peace with that. So I'm just not going to look at it because I've decided that I don't want to feel anger. So now I'm not going to make a change. I'll be all light and I'll be all loving and I'll be all peaceful and yay. And how am I going to be a creator to change? How am I going to speak to, how do I accept those who have been oppressive? You know, how can I love my enemy so that we can all live in an environment on an earth where we all can live in peace, even if I disagree with what they have done in the past? So no movement's made. No movement, and movement made in from a platform of fear. I don't want either of those. I don't. I want to live in a reality where we can feel anger, right? And then we can take that anger and let love and compassion and acceptance creatively move through it in whatever way that looks. It may be through movement or writing or singing or crying or hitting or speaking or being held or holding a tree, holding a puppy, whatever. But being with it and acknowledging that part of me, human Jane, and then create a solution that feels better, not just for me, but for all. That to me is where anger can become a spiritual gift, right? If I can use spirituality, right? Connectedness, love, acceptance with anger, not beating myself up for feeling it or doing things that anger others, because I know I make people mad. Okay, others make me mad, okay. But taking all of that together and creating something so that anger isn't the one that said, I'm taking this and I'm going to create, or this saying, screw you, anger, here, now I'm going to create from you, but actually working together. It's a bigger unit that holds more space. And then I feel like that's how we actually start to make changes, like big ones. I feel like, and y'all know I haven't read the Bible. I say that every time. And at this point, I don't think I want to. But like, from what I think in my head, like all the characters in the Bible, like if they were angry ones, like they were bad. Like nobody talked about like, oh yeah, no, that one time that Jesus got real pissed and he got in a fight with so-and-so. Like, no. I have heard of some stories about God being a vengeful God. And I don't know stories around that, but I feel like that's like a thing in the Bible. So I would, if you know that story or something, if you'll share that, because I actually would like to know about that. And maybe that vengeful God kind of goes along with the theme of karma, or cause and effect, like, well, if you throw it up, it's going to come down, like if you're going to be mean to someone, somebody's going to be mean to you. Just is, and I'm wondering if that's like the premise of that kind of vengeful God perspective. I don't know. But when I look at other stories, so if you look at some of the Hindu stories, beliefs, the gods and goddesses and lords and the characters, there's one woman named Kali, and she, the image of her, she's wearing like skulls, like dead people. She's wearing skulls and her tongue is out and she's this fierce, like rah, like woman. And she's got her weapons and she is known to like be like, not literally a fire breather, but like this fire breathing force. She will kill you, right? Kali. The more you read into it, it's that she cuts the heads off of ignorance. Ignorance is not knowing. So basically, she was a force of like truth. That's the way I see it. So my point though is that force of truth can really be upsetting. If someone sees the truth, it can be real upsetting and trigger a lot of anger. And that's when we wake up and say, okay, well then I just learned something new, right? How can I be a change? How can I make a difference? How can I inspire others to be more loving and more kind in this realm? You know, how can I show people that it's safe to accept those who are different than them, from them? You know, so this Kali character, you know, was this force of truth, kind of shining the light on the things that people didn't want to see, and would kind of support their enlightenment, right? Their spiritual growth, their growth as a human. It's the uncomfortable stuff. It is the uncomfortable stuff. And if it angers you, that's the uncomfortable stuff. And that means that's a space to heal, period. You know, yeah, I just had like 4 stories come in my head that I was going to share, and then they all just kind of left at the same time. It happens. So yeah, anger and spirituality, like there is a beautiful relationship between the two. There can be a super beautiful relationship between the two. And a lot of people have completely separated them, hidden anger, directed it out to toward others to keep the others oppressed and kind of pushed down, while the person that was feeling anger, right, which is underlying with either fear or sadness, the person is feeling anger and doesn't know how to handle it. So instead of facing what is actually triggering them and their big discomfort and anger and fear and sadness, they just keep projecting and like bullying others. That's the system that we live in. It is. That literally is the system that we live in. It's very patriarchal. It's very like masculine, like not in the healthy masculine way, like lots of healthy masculine. Love the healthy masculine. Love the healthy feminine. Not a big fan of the unhealthy feminine. Not a big fan of the unhealthy masculine. Energies, not bodies, right? But that's the system, this like white man system that favors white men. So if you're not a white man and you've not been as favored, there's a lot of deep-seated anger in that, because it's wrong. it's not right. Like it's not cool. It's not fair. It's not balanced. It's not okay. And that shit, like there's room for all of us, even people in white man bodies, to feel anger. The thing is that we're not made to just hold on to that anger. It closes off the heart. It decreases our capacity to be of support and service to our brothers and sisters on the earth plane. And not only that, it prevents others from helping your ass when you need help. Because nobody wants to help the grumble butt. Nobody wants to help the bully. They don't. Nobody wants to help the person that's like shaking the fist and being like, you're wrong. Like nobody wants to help them. And that makes me sad. Because those people are hurting just as much as those that can process and feel anger with ease. So that's where I invite grace to come into the game, so that we can give everyone a little bit of grace, for they know not what they do. They don't know any better. They don't know any differently. Every time I acted a fool or yelled at someone or swung on somebody, I didn't think about it ahead of time. I was in reaction mode because something hurt me so deeply that I couldn't deal with that. So the next thing that came up immediately was anger. And I'm not supposed to let that out, but it would come out, right? It's kind of like if you hold in that fart too long and then it just like, it comes out. You're walking and you're like, oh, that was me. It's like that. Do we get mad at the person that farts? My father used to. It wasn't ladylike. It was not ladylike. That's okay. But that would explain why Jane, had a challenge with letting anger out. It was going to come out, but it wasn't ladylike. So I invite us to offer ourselves grace when we start to be with anger, when we start to witness others being in anger. Also have boundaries, like if somebody's all angry and yelling at you, doesn't mean you have to stand there and take it. You can be like peace, like go away, I'm leaving you, whatever, like you have that freedom and free will. And I also invite us to not put our head in the sand and not go ruminate in all the anger ever, because that creates the divide. That creates more of a divide with the same like heart intention on both ends. Like, both want to like do good, be better, feel better, have this new earth. But if I'm not going to feel all the feelings, or if I'm really going to just ruminate and sit and fester in one of them in the name of, right? I'm going to sit in this anger because I love everybody. No. It's like an energetic math equation that like goes, there's not a balance, and this one, it's like kind of two in the air, so it's like, but you want it to be balanced like that, and then kind of come to the center and then grow in all directions from that. That's the way I see it. So yeah, spirituality and anger. I would love to hear your thoughts, read your thoughts and your comments on this. Like I said, this week, the theme, because I like a theme, is anger. I am looking forward to the rest of this week's offerings and the new locations that I'll be when I offer them. So don't forget, y'all, seriously, like if you feel anger, like the warm line is open 24 hours a day. So if you feel anger especially after like watching this, so you might feel anger, right? We're gonna feel anger, right? We're human. And you may choose to deal with it and be with it in a different way. And that may mean that you call the warm line, 833-390-7728. You call the warm line and you say, I just need to tell you that I'm experiencing a ton of anger right now, and I don't know what to do with it. I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. Normally I would, right? Normally I would reach for the bottle, or I would call my codependent relationships, or I would eat, or I would just turn on a television, or I would normally hit, or I would normally scream, or I would normally walk out on my partner. But I'm not. I'm going to be with it, and I just need you here with me. Call the warm line. Let them be your witness. Let them hold that space. Let them just hear you out so that you can be with it. You may end up crying. You may end up screaming. If you're going to scream, just let the person on the other end know, hey, I'm going to scream, so that way they can like pull it away, just, because you love humans and ears. But I encourage you to do that. Call that number. That's why people are on the other end, to hold space. So I invite you to allow anger to be an experience. Not that you are angry, you are feeling anger. Not that you're afraid to feel it, but rather you're empowered to be with it. Right? You're resilient. It will flow through, it will process, and you have support. Anger is a big emotion. And it may mean that you might feel it in little spurts, and you might let it out in little spurts, but just allow you to be with it in a different way and see what kind of creative solutions you can make. You might find that you didn't realize that you have a really big calling to support the health of animals on the planet. You might realize that you might notice a pattern in your anger. You might notice that every time you eat meat, you feel angry. I've noticed that in people, actually, in humans. If humans eat a lot of meat that wasn't like kindly raised and slaughtered, they actually are more angry. They let it out more. It's so weird to me, and it makes so much sense. But just like notice patterns, notice if you're angry in the morning, if you're angry in the afternoon, if you feel angry at night. It's like, take notes, write it down, and see where you can grow. When I saw this person throw their cup of litter out of her window, I get to remind others that this earth is the only one we have, and that she is beautiful and giving all the time, and all we have to do is take care of her. That's it. Then we start to be able to stand up for social justice from a really loving place, right? The social justice of the planet, of women, of people of color, of trans people, of this group, of that group. We're all a part of this human group on this one earth. We can stand up in the name of love for any and all of these groups. That's how spirituality and social justice come together and grow into something big and amazing and beautiful. That's how we create the new earth, right? The fifth dimensional reality. It's a fifth dimensional consciousness and a third dimensional density. We got this, y'all. So I hope that this was of service and of support and hopefully of some inspiration. Reach out if you need any more support. Reach out to Promise Resource Network. You can friend me on the social medias, and keep tuning in. Keep tuning in to Promise Resource Network. Share this with your friends, your family, your neighbors. Send out invites for people to like the Facebook and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Spread the word, Thunderbird. We're on a mission to just be support for humans and life in the way that we know how, because we've lived the experience. And we're always looking for more support and more help. So if this is something that you're called to be a part of, to share, please reach out as well to Promise Resource Network. All the information is on the Facebook page, and you can even sign up for emails. They don't send them out that often. They just send them out once a week with a schedule. Not even once a week, I don't think. I think it's only once a month. Yeah, they're really cool. They don't send out all the stuff all the time. But yeah, share all of this and live the inspired life that you're made to live. Create from that place and take care of yourselves and take care of each other, and remember how loved you are. And I will see you all so soon. Okay? Bye, y'all.